This is going to be a video on my recommendations on how to clean, scale diecast model cars. These are the methods that I've been using for several years now, and I've found them to be very successful. You just got to put in some time, some effort, and you got to be a detailed person. So, without further ado, these are the supplies that I will be using. Of course, the supplies are different for every car. A toothpick to get into the small nooks and crannies. This is just a random margarine container with water in it. That's just regular water. I prefer warm water because it comes off the paint a lot easier. The easier it comes off the paint, the less chance of you scratching the car. Your cleaners. Only use this right here under certain circumstances. I would never ever wash the car with this stuff, so do not get this mixed up with the water. That could be very, very bad. You only use this if there's, say, a factory defect, a little dark mark on the paint. It will take it off, but definitely have to be very careful. It will damage plastic. This right here is car wax. It's all wrapped up in a bag because the container's broken, but it is turtle wax, Carnauba car wax that I use on my car, and it also works on models to get off that manufacturing film that you get on some cars. Some of the higher end ones like Auto Art, or I've noticed it on Shelby Collectibles. It's really tough to get off. This right here, a typical paper towel. This is Bounty Extra Soft. I wouldn't recommend any other towel, mainly because I've used this for a very long time and I've never noticed any scratching or anything like that. The reason why you have to be concerned about the scratching is because paper products are typically very coarse. This particular one is very smooth and absorbs water really well, so I like it a lot. Any other paper towel could scratch the car. If you wanted to be safe, you could get microfiber pads or microfiber towels. It's going to be a little more expensive, but if you want to be safe to ensure it won't scratch it, then that's fine. They will work. Okay. Now, as the sun's actually coming out right now, this is a good time to do this, because the best light to clean a model is in sunlight. Not necessarily direct sunlight, because it dries the water too fast, but just regular light. A cloudy day is sometimes even fine. Now, cleaning methods vary for every single car. That's very important to understand, because every car is different. Every car has different wheels, different paint. Obviously, the lighter cars, like silver and white, you're not going to notice it as much. Okay, so what I did is I just took a paper towel, I folded it up, and get some water on that, the warm water. I'm also going to have this. This is my drying paper towel, one I took from that. Just make sure it doesn't have any dirt on it, any residue. Definitely only get a clean towel. And it's as simple as rubbing it on. Try not to do it too heavily. It could scratch the paint. You just do it in various parts of the cars. Kind of like washing a real one. You want to do certain parts first. So those are the easy ones. Now to get into these little small corners, you can use the paper towel. You can kind of fold it up. It does work on some cars. But then you get other ones, like this Ferrari 308 GTB. It has these little tiny slits right here. Now you really can't get in there with the paper towels, so that's what the toothpick comes in for. Just take the toothpick, put it through the paper towel. It kind of makes a nice wedge. Very lightly. You definitely don't want to damage the paint. Everything about this is gentle. And then same thing, you can even do it with the windshield wiper here. Lightly. This is for a very detailed person. Another thing to consider is these logos, because this particular logo is a sticker. Most aren't, but you will find ones that are stickers. And you can get them wet, but just rub them really lightly because you don't want to end up having to... My cat is meowing. You don't want them to peel up. That happened once before. Okay, so drying, very simple, but lighter the better. Less chance of it scratching. I'm pretty much just taking it and wiping it along, no pressure at all. Just wiping right along. And believe it or not, this will take off all the fingerprints you have in the car. If there are some fingerprints that have been there for a long time, you might have to put a little more pressure with the wet paper towel, and that's fine. Just be careful with the dry one. Cleaning the wheels and the interior is sometimes a little difficult. When you have a convertible, it makes it way easier because you can just stick it right in there. You just kind of open this up. You want to take a wet ear cleaner and just try to get all the nooks and crannies the best you can. In between the seats. It's kind of hard to see, my hand's in the way, but let's see if I can get in there. So what I'm doing is I'm taking the ear cleaner and just kind of twisting it around in these little tiny areas. That helps to get the water in there and helps to pick up some of the dust residue. Now, for the sake of time, I am not going to do this entire car. I'm just doing it for demonstration. So if I were doing the entire car, it would take me a long time because I'm pretty detailed. I want to get every speck of dust out of there. Hopefully you don't have too much dust if you have it in a case, but if you don't have it in a case, then you definitely want to consider doing this. Around the license plates, in between the lights. This is always really good for that. Get onto the engine. There's a lot of dust that builds up like along the edges here. Just want to kind of get in there. In some cases, to get the dust from the windshield wipers, it's even easier to get from underneath the... You can see there's a big opening there. That helps. On the paint and on the windows especially, you definitely want to dry it because the minerals from the water will leave water spots. Not permanent, but it just doesn't make it look that nice. And all these little... the grill here. I'm kind of using that twisting method to get in there, get all the spots. These ones are pretty small, so I'm going to take my wet paper towel and the toothpick again. Try to dry it up as best you can. For the wheels, usually the wheels don't get too dusty, but if they do, you once again will use these things. These things are so helpful. They're cheap, and they get everywhere. The one thing is they do start to unravel, and that's the case when you just want to get a new one. Find all the spots. This is why you need good light, so you can see all the spots that you might miss. On these chrome parts, this particular one, you have a lot of Maestos have it. You want to be very careful about scratching it. You want to be even lighter on this than you are on the paint because the scratches will show up so much more. And also, another thing you want to consider is if you touch them, it could potentially cause this chrome effect to go away. I've noticed that in some of my older cars. That's not good. So those are the basics. I like this method. I think it works pretty good. I've cleaned all my models, dark, light colored. This 308 GTB. You gotta take the time. You take the toothpicks, get into these little things. But sometimes you can't get everything. If you leave your car outside, I don't recommend that just because it's really difficult to clean once it's once it gets dirty. Once it gets the dust in there, it's tough to get out. Like for instance, I had my cabinet when I got this 308 GTV, so it's been in there, it's kind of lived in there. I have taken it out, I have handled it, but there really is no dust in here because I've kept it in the cabinet. So my older cars, like my Crown Victoria, that was out, and you can still see the dust residue in the dashboard and all along the inside, and that's not too pleasant. So it's always best to start from the get-go and just keep it clean. That's the main thing. So I believe that's everything. If you have any questions or advice for me, I'm always willing to take other people's advice. That's perfectly alright. Just leave it in the comment section below. I'll try to answer it. If you have a recommendation for a future video, that'd be cool too. Anything. And that's it. Thanks for watching.